Hello, this is an assessment of a Welmar baby grand piano, 140 centimetres long. I don't think I've seen a Welmar that short before. Normally they've, very similar to the Bluthners, who they work together with 150 centimetres. Certainly not seen a Bluthner 150, I'm sure. 140 centimetres long. So if you're in the trade and listening to this, it'd be interesting to have your comments on that. This one was sold in Dundee, as you can see here, and apparently that's with the original owner. The client is a relation of the original owner. And you can see here it says that they're guaranteed by Bluthner. They work together with Bluthner and imported Bluthner pianos. The casework's mahogany and generally in good condition, and the polish is excellent. So I think the client really just wants the mechanics done on the piano, but really there's not much to do on the polishing side anyway. So this side too, the long side, is also in very good condition. Not that long because it's a very short piano. And the lid is also in good condition. There's a slight patch here, but that's underneath the polish. It would be difficult to improve that. We can obviously get rid of the scratches and improve the piano generally, but the case is good. And the top of the fall is the same colour as the rest of the piano, so it's been kept very well. And for a small grand piano, it's 62 centimetres legroom, which is good, and 6 centimetres the pedal, so it's reasonably good for a grands. Grands tend to not have as much legroom as like tall German uprights, but this has more legroom than I would have expected. The piano is very recently restrung, and just before it came down here, which is near Oxford. When you restring a piano, the problem very often, we've mentioned before, is the tuning pins, especially as they go towards the bass, are so big that when you want to put larger ones in, it's not possible to do so. But I've checked all the tuning pins here and they're tight, so that's encouraging. And the strings are made well. One sign of a good string maker is an even string line here, and also quite close to the bridge here, and quite close to the other end, though not too close, so that they'd obviously would pull over the end then, so that's important too. We have seen that happen occasionally, but normally good string makers obviously make them well. So it's an 88 note piano and extremely good quality ivory keys. We couldn't find a serial number of the whole piano, which was very frustrating, and then we did find one underneath on this front rail here, 16128. That was the only place it was written. So if you can't find one on the piano, normally it's either on the soundboard. On a lot of English pianos, they have them at the top here, just there, just next to the soundboard on that edge piece there. So that was encouraging. The action's slightly heavy and the keys need lubricating. If you push them up like that and they don't go back down, then that's a sign that they do need lubricating. As we've mentioned many times, on this rail here, use talc, which is dry lubricant, or Teflon powder, but Renner prefer talc, so we use that. And if you lift them up and they don't fall down, then so they should fall down or nearly fall down. These are very stiff, and that will reduce the weight of the touch quite a lot. The hammers don't need lubricating, I don't think. No, they're fine. So there's no other thing, nothing else. The rollers, if they're lubricated, that will make it a bit smoother too. And the rollers are good, and the hammers aren't terribly worn either, really. We don't really need to replace those. Maybe a little bit of voicing. You can see the indentation there, but I think we can voice that. It might not need refacing. It does sound very beautiful, actually. Now we did find that some of the notes weren't repeating very well, like this one. If I lift this up slowly and I try to play it again, it doesn't play. So we adjusted this one. I'll show you in a second what it was. So if you lift that up now, it plays the second time. So a lot of them are probably like this. Now the most common cause of that is that the jack's a little bit stiff and they're not going back under properly. So when you play the note, they don't go under fast enough. But in this case, that wasn't the problem. Now, the problem was that the springs tension needed increasing. So if I just push my fingers down on two keys at once and let them check, so they've got to check like that, and then as I lift them slowly, then the checks will release, and we'll see that the right hand one comes up and the left hand one doesn't. The spring tension needs increasing on all of them. So that's bottom C, and we've increased the spring tension on that one. So we need to increase the spring tension by turning it clockwise. Here we go, about 3/4 of a turn, and then we'll see what that's like. So it's actually more like one turn, so press those two together again and they're both coming up. So there's the C and there's the B. So that needs to be done on all the springs, I think. So I've listed here the main work that needs doing: pitch raising, spring tension, very important. Lubrication will bring the weight more evenly across the keyboard. Then the client would like it slightly lighter, and it's a little bit heavier than we'd expect it to be, although 52 for middle C is a normal heavy weight, but it'll go down once we lubricate the balance rail and also the rollers, so that'll help. So balance rail and rollers. It's a Schwander action, standard action for this sort of piano, designed after the Bluthner ground. The frame on the inside looks very similar to a Bluthner actually, and there's a small work to do as well, fitting hammers to the strings. I didn't talk much about that, so the main jobs are here. Let's have a quick listen to the piano. Now it's flat and it's slightly out of tune, as we can hear. But I'm extremely impressed with the piano. For the length of the piano, there aren't many pianos of this length that would be better than this. Surprising bass for the size of the piano, and of course they're new strings, so they really impressed. Quite a lot of work that still needs doing, just sort of refinement work, but particularly the springs. I think apart from pitch raising, there'll be the next job that's really pretty much essential. Thank you very much for listening. If you're interested in having a piano assessed, then please do write to us, info@robertspianos.com.